Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. Everyone in Nashville can agree that it has been a very long 5 days. It's been a hardship and struggle for those who've lost power, and especially for those who remain without power. On top of that, temperatures are still frigid, which makes restoration even more crucial and urgent. Now, the linemen and support crews are diligently working to fix damage left in the path of this historically massive winter storm. A storm that impacted more than half of the United States, but left Nashville particularly impacted. It stretched from New Mexico to the east coast of the country. In the perfect world, the power would have been back in a matter of hours. But with the blow this storm delivered to Nashville, that just was not feasible. I want to thank everyone who is helping NES crews get this job done. Thanks to the mayor and so many other governmental leaders and community leaders who are ensuring that our customers stay safe during this difficult time without power. Have restoration efforts gone perfectly? No, not under these unprecedented circumstances with this level of unprecedented damage. I wanted to mention the maps that we have available on our website. We have an outage map. It shows current outages. We also have a map that shows crew locations. Those are up to date. Those feed from our operational systems and are an up-to-date source of information for customers. Now, we do get questions. We've had a lot of questions of late. Customers frequently ask, I'm out of power, but my neighbors across the street have power. Why is that? Is there something wrong? The truth is our grid is not designed on neighborhoods. It's designed on circuits. So you can have two homes in the same neighborhood that are on different circuits. And those circuits may have sustained different levels of damage, different numbers of trees and poles down, so it's easier to bring some of them back up than others. Our pledge is to keep working around the clock until the job is done. The customers are our number one priority. We say that all the time, that every decision we make needs to come back down to the customer. So we are doing everything we can to bring customers back on. We are all in this together. We are Nashville strong. And we will do our best to keep you updated on progress. We have a plan for getting additional information out in pretty short order. I'm going to ask Brent Baker to update you on some of our operational plans and communications.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you all for being here and for helping us get this information out. I'm going to share the latest numbers of power restoration progress made in the last day and make sure we get that information out as crews continue to work 14 to 16 hours around the clock in frigid weather. Those men and women are extremely tough and dedicated to this community. But first, let's address a topic that was put under the spotlight yesterday, and let's clear it up once and for all. 1 or 2 anonymous workers contacted a local media outlet saying they were turned away from helping with Nashville's power restoration. Let's be clear. It's absolutely vital to have the right support and crews to undo the damage delivered by Sunday's storm. Nashville was slammed. Poles were broken like toothpicks. Trees exploded, landing on top of our infrastructure, on top of the wires. Due to the vast area hit by this storm, the storm went all the way from New Mexico to the East Coast. Utilities were preparing across the country for this event, and we all were sharing our resources and letting us know where all of our people were. As soon as the storm went through, we were all communicating where it was needed most, and of course Nashville was where that was. That is how we increased the crews so quickly, as soon as those companies were able to release their crews. At the same time, it's very important that we follow a vetting process that all utilities follow to keep all workers safe during restoration. The vetting ensures workers are skilled and with good safety protocols. When onboarding, we ensure that contractors are qualified and that they have an NES hazardous safety professional with them. This is one of our own employees that goes around with them to make sure they are safe in this event as we continue to add numerous employees. This is essential to keeping everyone safe. So, with the goal is to complete power restoration we have to make sure we do not sacrifice the safety of our crews, and we will not take shortcuts just to add more crews and to make sure we get that done faster. And we will not take a chance of someone not going home to their family after this event. So yes, we will only bring in crews who are fully vetted and approved to safely work on our system, and we will continue to add crews as we have all throughout this week, and to have clearance that is safe to add more crews. We are now at a capacity that is higher than we had ever had at Nashville Electric Service at a number of crews. The point of all of this is to be able to get our customers restored as we continue to grow our staff, and we will continue to do so at scale. Now, I do want to take a look at some of the numbers that we have. We have restored 144,000 customers since the start of the ice storm. We started with 230,000 customers, and we're now down to 86,000 customers without power. That's a 63% restoration. There are 444 broken poles that we have found so far, and that number continues to grow. We have fixed 107 of those poles. 1,004 line workers are on our system, and we're moving to 1,084 at the end of the night tonight, and continue to grow. We have 257 vegetation management personnel, an increase of 42 since yesterday, and 450 NDOT, TDOT, and TEMA and National Guard that are here helping us clear the roadways to make sure we can do restoration. And we have 180 assessors out assessing the damage. That assessment is key to getting the information that we all want to provide to the customers. We are at 80% of our system assessed, and that is what is going to help us get that information to our community about the details within neighborhoods. At this time, I want to show a little bit of information about some of what we have shown on the restoration so far and the maps that we have. Behind me, we now have added to the outage map, and we've created a map that does show where we have restored and where we are still restoring. We have truck IDs on this map. I want to keep in mind that these are the trucks that we can have digital information on, and we have enough information. As we continue to add crews, not every one of those crews is digitally located. That is one of the challenges with some of the information you see us providing, is getting those crews here fast enough to work is more important for them to drill holes and set poles than for us to have a digital connection to them. We will continue to make sure they're integrated, and we can show you how many people are on our system. On the right side, we wanted to be able to show neighborhoods and how much we are restoring. We are now familiar with how many poles are damaged in each neighborhood, and we'll be providing this information on our website so that you can have that information and our customers can find that regularly. Our next goal is to be able to provide that estimated restoration time, and we are heading that way quickly, and we want to provide that in very short order. So taking care of this community is paramount and is the most important to us in making sure our customers are restored, and we are working hard to get scaled up continually until we can hit the speed to restore. I think now I'd like to start to open it up for questions if from.
You raise your hand, that way we'll make sure we get to you with the questions. So here's one, two, three.
Quick question is, what's the current plan that you guys are working with? How are you guys going about restoring power?
Yeah, so we are still going through those areas with high volume of customers. So as we are trying to get on the most customers at a time, a lot of our circuits still have 1,000 or more customers out on them, and those are the ones we are focused on. We do have some crews going around and starting to remove some of the smaller sections to be able to restore quicker. Early in this storm, we hit a lot of when we were restoring, that is a much quicker effort until we get to the point where now we have to do a lot more pole setting. And as you see, the pole numbers continue to go up. We are going to be increasing that pole setting speed.
You said you aren't taking shortcuts just to add more crews, but some would say that's not a shortcut, but actually helpful. So I guess my question is, why not add more crews if you can?
Yeah, so the importance of keeping our crews safe is what I went over, and we have to keep them safe. That is paramount to everything we are doing.
But can you
We are
add
vetting.
more crews if you can?
We are adding them all of the time. That's why every day you're seeing our number go up. What we have to do, and I have been communicating with people since the beginning of the storm across all companies that are qualified and reputable to come on quickly, that we are familiar with, and having those conversations from the very beginning. As we get to that point of bringing them on, we are able to work through the process and bring them on quickly. We have to make sure they will keep themselves safe and all of the people that are on our system. We have 1,000 workers that are on our system right now. We'll have nearly 1,100 tonight. We have to ensure that they're all working safely.
So how many did you add since the beginning of the week? If we can get a number, ballpark number?
I'm going to have to get that to you just to be able to. It's been accelerating so frequently. I need to get a better information for you.
Here,
On-
here,
Oh.
here, here, and here.
I'd like to elaborate a little bit on that question also. When we bring in contract crews, we can't just let them loose on our system. Our system's complex. We have a variety of voltages, and they don't have the expertise to necessarily know what's what unless we have an NES person with them. And they also can't communicate with our system control. So our system control needs to make sure that what they're around is de-energized and safe for them. So we're sending an NES individual with the crews. So to digest crews, we have a number of crews come in, and we'll have an NES person overseeing them. They will get them oriented, get them to work, and then we're taking on more crews. Like, okay, great. These guys are now oriented, working safely, being overseen, and they'll have questions, and we'll still need to be very hands-on, but now we can bring in more crews. So that's kind of how we're managing our pace on that, and we're continuing. I want every customer on as quickly as possible, so we're continuing to do that safely.
Here, 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 here.
A follow-up, so, it's fine. These are fine.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
Sorry, just a follow-up of what you said. So, how many crews did you, and not just contract crews and the folks that you already have relationships with, how many did you have staged in advance of the storm? When you knew the storm was coming, how many people, there's an argument to be made here that more crews could have been brought in, trained up on the system before this happened to avoid kind of this post-mortem speed up. So what was that situation? Why not have one crew staged?
I'll speak to that briefly, and then Brent knows head count and kind of manage the process of bringing in contract crews. But we had contract crews lined up and here in Nashville prior to the storm. But then there were also others where we asked for additional crews, and they said, well, and they were already partners that we utilized, but they had them staged at other places. You may recall Memphis was supposed to get the bulk of the ice initially, and then a few days prior to the storm, it shifted, and we were predicted to get more of it. Well, at that point, they promised us their crews if it materialized the way it looked like it was going to at that point, but they had taken a lot of the resources. Well, they sent them to us when the storm came through after they were cleared. But there was something else I wanted to address on that. I didn't quite remember what it was, but I'll jump back in if I remember. I'll let Brent.
Yeah, so I think it's important. I know Teresa mentioned just bringing the crews on safely. Some of the contract resources we were waiting for and that were in other places are able to hit our ground running, and they have had that 40-hour hazardous energy control training. So one of the benefits of bringing on people that have worked on our system or in those companies is that we know they can get here and get to work without extra supervision. So when the storm was coming, we knew where all of those crews were, and we knew wherever it was going to hit, how we would get those crews here. So that was really what was going on as we prepared. We had roughly 200 that we were going to be able to be staffed up Saturday night. Within the next morning, once Memphis's storm didn't go their way and went ours, there was another 80 immediately there. And then we continued to ramp up, and my memory from exactly what it was, I believe on Monday night we were over 600 by the time Monday night
Well,
hit.
Early Monday, you started with under 200, and then it went up to hopefully 500 by the end of Monday, I believe.
Okay, and we'll get that. We'll get the number. It's probably good for us to go get those numbers and really put that together because we were ramping quickly. Yeah.
And just to be clear, so you're saying you didn't turn anyone away, but at the same time, you're also saying we're not going to have people who we don't feel comfortable having on our lines who aren't familiar with the system. In essence, aren't you saying we turned people away who we didn't feel comfortable having out in the system? There's a disconnect there.
So vetting for safety is exactly what has to be done every time. And there were conversations I was having regularly that as we were getting through from the beginning until we were bringing them on, those conversations went on for a couple of days and we were bringing those on. So vetting them very well was what we were going through. And so
Let's go here, and here, 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 From the very beginning, not a single person in the city has known when their power was coming back on. At this point, you have 86,000 people who still don't know when their power is coming back on. Has your notification system simply failed?
So customers have to know this information, and that is what we said from the beginning, is we have to get enough information on the ground about where all of the damage is and how fast we can restore. The size of this storm has really challenged us to be able to get that in the way that we can know where those customers' outages are. As I mentioned, we're at 80% assessment. Getting the assessments done will help us be able to know how to provide that information. So showing the information we're having, we are using tools that aren't the ones that we already had in place to make sure we can meet that need of getting that customer information.
There are people that are asking why in the world the notification system wasn't ready to go when this ice storm hit, why we are still waiting. There are some people that are without power for 5 days. You said today, it could be next week. How are people supposed to know what they should do?
Yeah, so that's what we're working on right now, is to try to get more of that information. You can see every day we're providing more information. We're working diligently to get that information
But
out.
we're on day 5.
Absolutely.
And it's still not ready?
Absolutely. We are working to get that ready to our customers.
All right, next question. There have been faulty NES alerts that have gone out, alerting people that their power is back on, but it is still not. You said yesterday that that would stop. Last night at 5 o'clock, people are still getting the alerts. They're still getting it today. What's wrong with that system?
We are continuing to evaluate that. That first time we went through it was because of the circuits being broke apart. Now we have found just one more technology piece that has to be improved. The teams are working on this diligently, watching to find those issues before they happen, and the magnitude of this storm has tested some of those systems.
Come over here because I skipped you, so you, then you.
All right. Hi, Austin Hornboss with the Tennessee. Thanks for taking our questions. We've been seeing some speculation from folks online and elsewhere, perhaps as a result of just this wait that some are experiencing still for power to return. So asking you to debunk or confirm something that we at the Tennessean have been seeing on socials lately. People keep saying that they're being told if a tree falls on their property and is on a power line, that the homeowner is responsible for getting that tree removed before NES will come to work on the line. Could one of you weigh in on whether that's factual or not? Or
Yeah, so there's a couple things. So the main line that is out in front of someone's house, that is our responsibility to trim. When that service drop goes to the house, and we've talked about the weatherhead, that is something that is on the customer side while we're going. And so that is important. That part of that service is something that customers do have to maintain.
what part of what, sir? Could you make that a little more clear for
Yeah,
us?
so coming out of the home, there's a meter base and there's a weatherhead, and to be really technical, there is the wire that goes from the house to the main line, usually at a road or at the back lot line.
Okay.
That service drop, if it's, yeah,
How are you communicating that then to customers? That's hard for me to follow. In a
yes.
conference.
So we have brochures we have made, and we've had those available. I think there were another 1,000 printed yesterday. We are printing those out regularly and sharing that on our social media and our website.
So you're disseminating information about that now.
We have been, yes, for several days. Yeah.
To the best of your knowledge, at this moment, what is the timeline for that remaining 80 or 90,000 or so customers who
Yeah.
are without power? And kind of can you talk about why things seem to be moving pretty slowly for those?
Yeah, I can do both of those. So one, at the beginning of the week, I said this was going to be a multi-day prolonged event and was looking at sometime closer to the weekend to be able to have a better idea. We're at 80% assessment, and that assessment is so key for us to be able to give accurate information. The one thing we don't want to do is give inaccurate information, but we absolutely have to start giving more information, which is what we're working on. To give that, as we get more progress in the field, that is how, that we just have to get more done in the field to make that happen. And the constraints that we've talked about already is why that's taken some time. The reason that we have the length of time to get power restored, we are now setting more and more poles every day. It takes quite a bit of time to set a pole and to get that put up. With all of the resources we have here, it is still that more long duration work. When you first start a storm, there are a lot of sections that can be energized by having somebody go out and remove certain damage that is outside of that and get power restored. But right now we are to that heavy lifting piece of putting poles in place and getting wires strung.
Okay, we're about to have to wrap up, so.
Oh,
We got a lot more.
Yeah,
We have a question, sir, and I haven't had a question yet.
I know, I was gonna say,
Sure, so-
yeah, but hold on. You were up, and you were up, and you were up. You three were already up. We're sorry we can't get to all the questions, but we need them to get out to do their work. So let's go ahead and go, you.
To your knowledge, did potential line workers fail vetting, and if so, can you give us a ballpark of how many of those you turned away because they failed vetting?
I don't have that. What we have worked through is to make sure everybody is vetted, and so as
Did some fail vetting? That's a yes or no question that I feel like you should be able to.
so we have a lot of people we are still talking to. Actually, every day when we are working through these people that are coming in, we are still working. A lot of people that I've been having conversations with, we are vetting through or seeing when they can come on safely for us as well. When can we take
Do you
them
know
on?
anyone who's failed the vetting process?
I'm telling you right now, our vetting process is still underway every day. So we are still working with people to bring people on. So everybody we have been talking to, that if we couldn't get them today, we are still working to find out when we can get them.
Okay, and you started with about 150 personnel shortage is what a union rep told me a couple days ago of frontline workers. Either of you in your positions as leadership here, did you ever pass over or prioritize something at the expense of hiring more repair workers or frontline workers? Was that over the last year before this storm hit? Were you just not scaling up in the way that maybe you should have been, or was that not a concern of yours?
So, yeah.
I'm not aware of a shortage. That's not a discussion, that's not something the union has brought forward to us. We have a robust workforce. We are continuously hiring, and it's all to support our community. So I'm not aware of any such issue.
You wouldn't say NES started this storm with a shortage of frontline workers. Is that right?
So what we do all the time is ensure we get people hired on regularly. So we onboard all the time and have people. We do have retirements and onboarding on a regular basis. So our effort to keep fully staffed has
You're
been
saying
ongoing.
that NES did not start the storm with a shortage of frontline workers. Is that
I'm saying we're dedicated to have a qualified workforce that is ready to work all of the time.
Let's go here and then here.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Today we interviewed a third IBEW union contractor, this one based right here in Tennessee, who was told on Monday that NES was full and did not need help. He then sent about 50 of his employees to other states. In another email that we aired yesterday, a different contractor was told by NES they are, quote, covered. On Monday, I reported that NES began the week with 150 fewer linemen in the field than neighboring Middle Tennessee Electric, which had at its peak 200,000 less outages. What does covered or full mean to NES?
Yeah, so we've talked a lot about getting them here safely, and so we were depending on those resources that could safely get here quickly, and we knew they could come quickly as well before we start adding others. And so that vetting process and having that conversation regularly, we are getting inundated with information and getting people up, and we knew we got to 600 quickly with the resources we had, and then even up to 800 with the ones we had the initial relationships with. The commitment was how fast those could get here. Those could get here, we believed, more quickly. That was the benefit of working with the ones we already had.
As you go to onboard more linemen, you say you have to have an NES person who's familiar with the complexity of your system in order to release them safely. Was it a failure on NES's part not to have more people familiar with your system so you can onboard linemen quicker?
The technical requirements to be able to do the work of doing that safely is something that is a limited group of people that have that ability to do
Why
that. And
is-
so as we work all of the time, we make sure we have enough of those people to do our job regularly. To be staffed for a storm like this on a normal basis would be something that would be a bit more than what the community would be able to work through. And so what we want to do from keeping people on staff is to be able to respond when these things happen and scale up like we have.
So is the bottleneck right now the slowing down of restoration rates due to not being able to get enough linemen into the field because you don't have enough people familiar with the system?
So we have to have people that can work on the system and have that hazardous enter control to be able to bring more people on. And scaling that up is really important for us. We have to do that well. Getting those.
But not having enough people to have knowledge of the system to get them online safely, was that a failure on your part?
I'm telling you right now, getting those people to be able to bring people on safely is just the most important part of what we do, and be able to bring them on, watch over those people well.
Why is Nashville so different from other cities that? Why is Nashville so different from other cities that have multiple thousand linemen working crises like this? Why is Nashville so different?
This storm is different. This ice storm is significant. This is the most people Nashville Electric has ever onboarded onto the system. This storm is bigger than what was even expected. We had 3/4 of an inch of ice. everything around us, this is the epicenter. We have to recognize how significant this is. When we look at the trees that have exploded, when we drive around the community and are still working to get this restoration done, we have to see how severe this was. We are prepared for storms. You look at the storms we have had in the past that we have restored quickly, the derechos, the tornadoes. We are prepared and confident that we can respond in those storms. This has been a proportion that is just really something different, that I understand the desire to get to the bottom of how much more we could do. We are very much responsible for getting this power on, and we definitely do this well. You've seen this in other storms. This is of a proportion that is different than we have ever worked with. Not that I'm telling you right now, we are working to get this ramped up as quickly. We want our community to be taken care of. I'm telling you right now.
Is there too much red tape? A 40-hour training period? I have not heard that from anyone I've spoken to.
We are about to do closing remarks from Teresa and Brent.
With all due respect, we just need stats confirmed when it comes to contractors. We need those confirmed
And
with
we
our
also
reporting,
need to
and we
know,
didn't
like,
get
how
that.
many power poles did you stockpile before this? Can you answer that question?
We can answer those questions
Yeah.
and get that information to you, but we have to wrap this up.
Yeah, so I'm going to wrap up with just, we understand and really want to provide the information. We believe in restoring the community well, and we're dedicated to doing this. And we completely understand the questions, and we want to get this out, and we appreciate you getting the information out. The dedication we have is getting customers restored, and we are doing that around the clock. We are working intensely to get this done. We have to keep our employees safe, but we have to get our customers turned on, and there's dedication around our whole company, including us. We have people working nonstop, and they're dedicated to doing this, and we've got to get our community on. We understand that.
But can you tell us how many power poles you have stocked before the storm?
We're going to have to get that to you. There's a lot. So here, there are so much data going on with the amount of information we're bringing, with the significant size. We don't have a shortage. We do not, and we have, once again, like crews, we have arrangements to be able to get our materials. Whenever something like this has happened, we are all preparing to get those materials brought in. Once the storm hits, everybody wants to hold on to their materials if a storm is coming their direction. Once the storm hits, we all, as an industry, we all work together to help each other. We have partnerships across the country. These companies that we work with to vet, many of them we've worked with, even if they're not on our system, we know them from our career, from the industry. I have friends that have 500 contractors that could come on. I've been talking to them all along. Could we handle 500 day one? Absolutely not. Could we get 20 on? Could we get 40 on? Yes. I've been in communication with these people since it started. These are my friends that I went to college with that are now running these companies. We've all been in this industry. I've been in this industry for 25 years. And I'm telling you, these are people that are dedicated to customers. And I'm dedicated to customers. We're trying really hard right now to get this done. Those people that I know across the country that are working to do this, we've been talking about how do we get this done. The ones that really know what it's like to be on our side will tell you all. We're doing a really good effort to get this done. We're doing a part that is really, when you get a storm like this is something that is really important to give to the community in the way that is right. We're working together. Those people that run companies that are in regular communication with us are saying, whenever you need me, I'm ready.
Okay, we're going to go to Teresa as we wrap up.
Thank you, Ronald. This has been an historical storm. The level of damage, if you drive around our service territory, is staggering. Some areas of our community look like war zones because there are so many trees and poles down. That is what we are here to fix. That's what our organization does, is crisis management. This is a big one. This is a really massive storm, but it's all hands on deck because we care about our customers. We realize what a hardship it is for people to not have power and to have to figure out how to carry on their day-to-day lives with their families without having power in their homes. And it's such an incredible priority to us to ensure that we do that properly. So I assure you, our full commitment to our community, these are our neighbors and friends. We want everyone's power back on, and we will work tirelessly until we have that done. And I assure you that all of our people here are doing the same. It's round the clock efforts, everyone focused, everyone stressed out trying to figure out how can we set 20 poles faster in hard ground? How can we get all these trees cleared out of the way so we can safely get in and work on our lines? It's a disaster of epic proportion, but we are working incredibly hard for this and have lots of dedicated people, and we've onboarded so many people to help us that our workforce is the largest it's ever been in the history of the company, but is also the largest disaster we've ever faced in the history of the company. So I assure you, we are here with our customers in mind and in heart, quite honestly, and we will be here probably in this building and out in the field pushing until we get it done. So thank you for being here, and thank you to all of our community members that are supportive and are supporting each other through this trying time. Thank you.